2026 is well and truly underway, which means one thing. The RV show season here in Australia is set to begin, and it all kicks off with the Victorian Caravan and Camping Supershow, which starts on February the 18th at the Melbourne Showgrounds. Now, 2025, it was a bit of a difficult year for the RV industry. We've seen at least one notorious company closure, and sales across the board probably weren't quite what I'm sure the gentleman sitting to my left would have liked them to be. And Daniel Sahlberg, the CEO of the Victorian Caravan Industry Association, he's with me to look at the state of play for the Victorian caravan industry, and in particular to look at what's in store at this year's Super Show. And if you stick around and watch through to the end, we do have a special offer for viewers. Now, Daniel Sahlberg, welcome back to Tow&Tell.
Thank you, Max. Thank you so much for having us. You've obviously hit the airways and got lots of traction with this podcast, so it's great to be back again.
Mate, it's a pleasure to have you. And yes, a little bit of traction. But before we delve into the Super Show, can we recap 2025 a little bit from your perspective? We did have Stuart Lamont in from the national body a few weeks ago, and he saw 2025 as a year of challenges, but also opportunities. What's your view?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously we work pretty closely with Stuart and the team. Each of the state associations, us being one of those, we are members of the National Association, so we work together collaboratively. If we look back over the journey of it, COVID was a boom time for the caravan industry. 2022, 2023, 51,000 new products went into the market. And if you look back on 2019, there was 31,000. So we've almost doubled over that time. In 2024, it came back to about 48,000. What we're looking at for 2025 is around the 43,000. So we have come back. But if you look at it, how big the industry's grown, the popularity of it, that means lots more players, lots more people to work through in the industry. So we've seen a boom in businesses across the industry since prior to COVID. So if you look at, an analogy, and everyone talks about how many manufacturers there are, probably going into COVID, there was probably 160 to 180 manufacturers. And now we're sitting at maybe 230, 240 manufacturers. So as the sales drop, how do you feed them all? There's an analogy that the industry is talking about. There was probably lots of fish, but as there are as many fish, but there's probably more fishermen now. So trying to catch those fish is an analogy that we're looking at across the board. So yes, it's challenging for the industry. A lot of businesses geared up through COVID, doubled production, had more people, more resources, more overheads, moved into new factories. So it's about the sustainability of that. So what have we seen, Max, in 2025, to answer the question? Is in 2025, I think the industry, and from my taking, is a lot of the manufacturers looked at diversification. They looked at different models. Some of the businesses had a brand and said, well, we want to create some more sales and top up those production lines because it's come back. So we want to create a new model. There was lots of innovation last year for the first time I've probably seen before COVID, so that was great for the industry. But the traction still probably wasn't there because you're still trying to compete against 130 manufacturers across the board. So we saw lots of challenges around volume and sustainability, which meant within the industry, obviously challenging and conversations about where we are. But we're still far and above attendance. We're still far and above in terms of manufactured products and sales than what we were before COVID. So we do have a good opportunity at the same time.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like 2025 almost should have been a year of consolidation for the industry, but it almost was the opposite coming off the back of COVID.
So you're right, and it's probably been coming for a while, would there be consolidation? There was talk of consolidation prior to COVID about the amount of volume of manufacturers. We have seen some of that. So there's been some acquisitions of manufacturers that have been accomplished into bigger groups at the same time. So there's been some of it, but there are still lots of players. So it'll be interesting to see how this year rides. Dealerships are full, where dealerships probably weren't full starting in 2025 as well. So the stock levels are high. So it's good for a consumer because there's deals to be had.
But when you've got stock levels so high out in the dealerships in the marketplace, what does that do to manufacturing?
Well, they're trying to push out products. But and as we walked into the studio today, right, some wise men said, with challenges comes opportunity and innovation. So we're starting to see some good innovations coming out for the industry and good value proposition for the consumer too. So what it is discounts and sales, but features and tech. A lot of the industry now has moved into that mid-tier entry-level market. There was the top end that was doing really well. But with the cost of living pressures that we're facing, people have gone, all right, well, how do I substitute that and still get push through of products? So, that 80 to 100 gram product range is now really good value proposition for the consumer with the technology that's available. So yeah, great opportunity for them at the same time.
Okay, what about some of your highlights for the industry in 2025?
There was lots of good highlights for us, and I've got a long list. So I've joined Max's crew today where I've got my iPad because my team do such a good job. But because of the diversity that we do as an association, there's lots of good things. So if we talk through our events, we actually ran 6 consumer shows over the period. We did a couple in Wodonga as we transitioned, but we ran a Van Jam concept, which was a festival type event up in Wodonga on the Saturday night of the show, which was for a charity as well. So
what do you call it? Van Jam?
Van Jam. So it's a festival type event. It was at night. There was music, entertainment, some food and drinks. We had a good laugh. It was good fun. There was a lot of work that went into it. But we started to see, well, how can we start to evolve and start to move into, well, what do you do with your caravan? And let's go have some good time. So it's not just a transactional process at a show. It's actually moving into a festival event where we can teach people how to use caravans and where you go. So we did Van Jam. We also ran our first Geelong Caravanning and Adventure Leisure Fest. I've got to remember the name. We evolved our names as we went through as well. We ran that in November and we had almost 10,000 people come through for our first gig. The weather in Geelong wasn't kind, but we had 2,500 people that didn't attend because of the weather we put on. So, yeah, it was a really good show. Some really good sales results that we got from the exhibitors too. So that was great. We did that. So a couple of stats across the board that I thought I'd put down here. So we sold in exhibition space 204,000 square metres of exhibition across our 5 shows last year.
So 204,000 square metres across your shows in Victoria. Wow.
So that averaged out at 40,847,000 square metres. So we're not small shows. We have lots of products. And we'll talk a little bit more as we go along about what we do with our products because not everyone can come. So it's a good tie-in. We had 723 exhibitors, average at 145. We had just over 100,000 consumers come to our shows.
That's not a small figure.
So we did pretty well. Our Caravan Show website, which is our main show website, 886,000 hits on that website last year. So the marketing team going to crack the million this year, aren't you, boys? Yes, they are. They're going to crack that. And across all our platforms, we had 24 million views.
Explore thousands of caravans, campers and all the gear at the Victorian Caravan and Camping Super Show, February 18 to 22nd, Melbourne Showgrounds. It's the show to go. Tickets from $18, kids under 15 free. Go to caravanshow.com.au.
Okay, and you've also got a new show, the Cranbourne one?
Yep. So we're about to embark upon another journey.
Okay, before we get into that, why Cranbourne? What's the plan there?
So as a part of my work and my joys, and as I said, I got a team that do all the hard work and in a way make me look good. And that's why I need the stats and data. But I've been working with consultants about what's the future of shows, what's the future of our association, and looking at the strategic model. And one of those aspects we did is we looked at registrations across the state of Victoria. Where's the heartlands? Where's the hubs? Where should we be? But also, if you look at COVID and what happened is we taught people not to travel. And, even you look at every corner, there's a shopping centre. We used to go to Chadstone here in Victoria. We used to go to High Point. But now you've got all these pop-up places. So we've looked at it and gone, all right, so how do we bring caravans to the people? How do we put them in areas? If you want to call it like pop-up, when you go to buy a house, you've got housing estates and you've got the display homes. Similar sort of concept is what we've looked at. So Cranbourne area is the number 1 registration area, and that's why we've chosen that area.
For real.
Yep.
Little old humble Cranbourne
Correct.
is the most dense population of caravan registrations.
So what we overlaid the consumer, so the amount of people versus the registration data, and what we were able to see is that Cranbourne area is a growth. And it's the number 1. Geelong's number 2. So hence why we went to Cranbourne and Geelong. It just makes sense. So we've gone there, but we've also looked at Cranbourne for future growth out in Pakenham. So But we see that Cranbourne is a hub. You see Amazon have just gone there. It's just up the road from Dandenong that's pre-populated, the housing estates there. So we see it as a nice tie-in for future and growth. It is, and it is sort of that hour and a bit from the city now because of the traffic that we all live and breathe with. And people don't want to go to the city. So we're trying to give the consumer choice. We're trying to rotate it around time of year so they might go to Cranbourne and then they come to another show to purchase.
Don't go away. We'll be back in just a minute or two with more from Daniel about this year's Victorian Super Show.
We still offer at Safety Dave a 2-year warranty with all our products. And the other benefits of these wireless products are that you can have up to 4 cameras with each monitor. They have reversing lines on there. You can record, you can add an SD card, and the night vision also is very, very good.
Darren, if people want to find out more about these products, where can they go?
Just go to our website, www.safetydave.com.au, or call us on the phone on 1800 072 338. And the old-fashioned service Safety Dave gives will answer the phone.
So that takes the amount of shows that you put on every year to 5? 6. Okay. So question is show fatigue. How many becomes too many? I mean, I speak to a lot of caravan manufacturers, as you'd expect, and I won't name any names, but, oftentimes it's, oh, geez, I've got another show that we've got to do this weekend. And I'm sure you get it as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
That was
How do you deal with that? Because it's valid. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into hauling 10 caravans or 20 caravans into a display area.
Yeah, correct. And I think that's the evolution of the industry from where it was. Dealerships and the handover of that play a key part as well. But the consumers used to things in their backyard and pop up. I talked about travel. So why, do people to buy a caravan, do they really want to drive up to Camberfield or drive over to Geelong, like from Cranbourne, if they're owning it there, if that company's only got one dealership? So bringing the product to the people is why. And you're right about fatigue. There are lots of shows and people have seen and private enterprises have seen shows as probably a money income generation for them. But we're a bit unique, industry association, so all the money that we generate, we put back into industry. But importantly, we have lots of rules that come to our shows, whereas others don't. So you've got to be a member to come to our shows, and that requires you go through compliance checks, business checks, and you talked about some challenges of industry, right? That's why we have our rules, and you've got to have a dealer that sells to you as well. So we have some strong purposes of why you come to our shows over other shows as well. So we're trying to give the consumer and our members the right choices that then all the other shows will not be needed, and we're just in the right times at the right places, and we give them the opportunity to sell. Okay,
so RV Masters, we've got to touch on that. I know that this is a program that you launched, about 18 odd months ago. It's intended to give purchasers confidence, isn't it, that they're dealing with a reputable manufacturer with a track record in business. They're not going to go broke and leave their customer in the lurch, and there's a bunch of criteria that they have to meet. How many manufacturers are now participating? And I know you launched with some pretty big names. Yep. So how's it going? Well, how many do you have?
Good.
Yeah.
What has been learned and as has been obviously going around the industry, there's lots of things to be done. But it's also not a tick and a flick. That's why what we've been doing in the background is working with these businesses to get them accredited, because the process to be accredited, it doesn't happen overnight. So the audit process and making sure they meet the standards, some of the audits go for 3 months. So it takes time to be accredited. So we've been working with businesses. We've got 4 accredited, but just wait, there's a few announcements to come. There's a few more. So we had 13 originally in it. We've still got about 18 in the participation at the moment of the program. So they're still working behind the scenes.
Okay, so you've got 18 who are going through the accreditation process, but 4 who have completed. Yep. Who were the 4?
So we've got Jayco. Yes. We've got Crusader. Got Snowy River and Royal Flair. They're the 4 that are accredited. We launched that at the Hall of Fame last year.
Okay, Daniel, come on, give us the scoop, mate. Who's the 5th?
You want the in and outs, and you want all the goss and online.
Give me the goss.
Okay, I'll give it to you. So we are proud to say that Vacation and Caravans, after such hard work, and they've really invested, have become accredited to the RV Master Manufacturer's requirements. And I'll give you another scoop. There is another one that's really close, but I'm not going to tell you that because they're not just there yet.
Okay, well, next time we'll get it from. But that's good news about Vacation. They strike me as a company that want to do the right thing by their customers.
They've got lots of people in their team that have been in the industry for a while, and they are heavily invested. They are moving and shaking. They've created some unique products. They've got a couple of different ranges. but they've also got the dealerships that they're taking around the country as well now with the partnership in that. So, yeah, they're really moving and shaking. And it's been an interesting journey, and it's been a passion project of me coming from manufacturing. Sitting here last year, we talked about this, and we said, hey, we've got to create a standard. It was actually driven and created by the manufacturer. So, there's lots of noise in the media, consumers talking about regulations and standards, government intervention, all that sort of stuff. In a way, this is us trying to do it as an industry and drive the standard. So, you look at the conversation, and we speak nicely, but Zone RV went into administration last year, which obviously has blown up the airways. But financial viability is one of the key elements of the program, and checking to make sure they're financially viable. We have independent auditors that are checking those things. So that's why we created the program, for the betterment.
Because for so many years, the industry really nationwide was somewhat left to its own devices in terms of compliance. And as a result, we've all seen what's happened.
Correct.
So what the consumers probably don't realise is that the associations, the industries have had to do these things on their own, to develop programs that will instill confidence, that will raise the standard within the industry, but without any enforcement powers.
That's exactly right. And that's our enforcement power, our shows and our membership. So that's why our shows, you have to meet certain criteria just to come in, just to be there. But RV Masters is really trying to set the standard for a business and what it should be. So a lot of the time, the talk is about looking downwards and why are they doing this, why are they doing that. We're actually trying to flip that mentality to say, this is what you should do, and this is where you should be at from a whole of business. It's customer service and warranty, and there's a lot of talk about customer service and warranty, but these guys have to have the systems and processes. The quality also means also the manufacturing techniques and how they're producing, which ties in compliance. You've got financial viability, you've got HR, you've got IT, you've got business systems. It's all of the business, making sure they're paying the ATO, making sure they're paying all the, business requirements. It's an in-depth program that takes time. Yes, we've had to do work with people, and I don't want to shy away from that, but that's about lifting to the standards, and that's what these guys signed up for. It is taking longer because they've had to fix some things as they're going through. So when you said there's no regulatory checks or going on, well, who is doing that? Well, we are.
Do you think you will be in a position or where you will need to knock people back? Or is the RV Masters program a program of education where they want to come in, they want to be an RV master, they're not there yet, so you will work with them? Or is it a case of, no, sorry, you're just not there? You've just got a factory and a nail gun and that's it.
We have knocked back people. You've got to meet the prerequisite standards to be able to apply. They came to our board and said, we want to be a part of this. Can we seek forgiveness? Can we build? Can we do it? And they said, yeah, you can. We're happy to work with you. We're happy to have our team and our contractors, all the auditors and assessors to work with you, but we're not going to promote you yet. Because you've got to meet the prerequisites.
Those two words, seek forgiveness, it's a little bit of a worry when you've got manufacturers out there saying, almost admitting that they've done the wrong thing.
Well, it's about them understanding what's the right thing, Max. And that's been the challenge of industry before. And you touched on it before, and you and I have been around for a couple of decades in the industry now. So, you go back to 2024 when I started, there was probably 25, 26 manufacturers. Now we're talking 230, 240, and they're at one place and another. And they were great people on the shop floors, but then the business systems. But the rules and regulations haven't been understood. And that was my background where I was when I created RV Map and we started that journey about trying to teach people the rules. RV Master's the same. We're actually trying to help them by going, hey, guys, here's what you should be doing from a business. Here's from a quality. And that's been set by the industry to help you drive that. But it's also the consumer expectation at the same time. So bringing them along is hard because it's changed. And they're going, well, why do we have to do this? Or why is it at that level? But these guys have invested to actually meet that.
So let's talk about how you incorporate RV Masters into the Super Show. You've got countless manufacturers displaying their products, and within them, you've got that subset of RV Masters manufacturers who have adhered to all the criteria, etc. So how do you set them apart? Because the show is, you want to give everyone an opportunity to sell their products, etc. But then you've got this subset of manufacturers that are just a little bit special.
Might be why it's controversial within the industry, but it's about driving change and driving standards at the same time. We've got to bring everyone along for the journey. As I mentioned earlier, our prerequisite of being a member in the first place to come to our shows. So you actually go through checks and balances before you become a member. So there's a documentation audit, validation of ASICs, a validation of systems and financial viability before you come in. Then there's a compliance audit on a product. if you've got a caravan or RV, and then there's a business audit done, which then gets ratified by the board. So there's a stringent process before you come. To come to our shows, you've got to have a dealer that meets the definition of a dealer, because there's no definition out there or what it should be. But yeah, it's a challenge, Max, but it's really about trying to drive the industry to strive for something. So, our promotional marketing and items, and we thought we'd bring you some gear so you can wear your badge with proud. I should show it for the camera. But, like these keychains and stuff like that. But really it's trying to educate the consumer why you should do it. So there's some notepads that sales guys will have. The claim is expect the best. That's really what the program's about, and driving them to change, because we want the consumer to demand from the manufacturers to jump on the journey and be a part of it. It takes time. It's hard work. It's an investment. But, the wise people that have got behind this, and you look at the names that I mentioned that are behind it, the Jaycos, the Royal Flares, the Snowy Rivers, we've got Vacationer now. Those guys have really invested into the program, but they've invested into business for a long time. So they've got the right tools, they've got the right equipment, they've got the right facilities, they've got the right people. They've trained them, they've worked through them. They haven't just started up overnight and come into it. So it's about buying with confidence too, because then they've got the parts, they've got the supply around the country as well. So we're trying to strive the industry to be the best and expect the best at the same time. So yes, there's a mixture, but really it's about trying to bring everyone along for the journey.
And getting back to the Super Show, it always is, mate. I mean, I'm sure it amazes you too, the scale of the Super Show. And we talked about what does it average out to, 40,000 odd square feet, or probably more for a Super Show, a fair bit more. But there's always something. You got a motorbike stunt show this year. Now, I do ride a motorcycle, Daniel, but I'm probably not going to apply for that job.
Well, maybe we got a scoop that Max is maybe doing a stunt show. Maybe he could be in the stunt show. We might have to bring you along.
No, I value my life a little bit too much.
The Super Show is amazing. It's the biggest for our team, and we did a staff planning day a couple of weeks ago now, and we said who's done a Super Show, and we've gone through a bit of change in our business and restructure to provide more service for our members in the industry. And it was sort of half that had done it and half not. And I said, what have you show done? And they said, I've done Geelong, I've done Bendigo, I've done Melbourne Leisure Fest. I said, well, it's probably 5 or 6 times that. It's more, there's more invested, there's lots more happening. And getting the list, right? So the dot points I've got for this is going to take us a while, Max, and we'll break that in. But, we've already sold for exhibition space, almost 55,000 square metres of exhibition space alone. That's only for the exhibitors. That doesn't include food. That doesn't include entertainment. That doesn't include any, attractions or anything like that are on display. But we take up 120,000 square metres of exhibition space at the Melbourne Showgrounds. It is a beast. The logistics of it is full on. It's months and months of planning and preparation.
I mean, you do look a little greyer since I last saw you.
Thanks. So that's why I tried to shave the beard a little shorter this year to cut that. But you're right. It is a lot of work, and it's a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. But the team's done a really good job in pulling this together. It's been hard work as we've transitioned, adding more shows, more activities. But, the entertainment value is off the charts this year, like the main stage. So the main stage, which is presented by RV Masters. So it used to be the RV Master stage, but it's now presented because we want people to know, if I want to go and see something, where do I go? So there's music and influences as a highlight. But and I had to put this first for my children, because they got excited that Peppa Pig's coming. So Peppa Pig's coming. There's a meet and greet and a show. Sam Newman and Sue Stanley travelling around Australia, which we've sponsored. They're coming to present. So you'll hear some interesting stories and lots of topics that people will love and hate, but they'll be there to present and talk. We've got the Feel Good family. We've got an opera singer. Opera singer from Queensland coming down from a tourism perspective that's going to present on the main stage. And then we've got Nick Cummins, the Honey Badger, also on the main stage as well. That's just one of the feature areas that we've got on display.
So Sam Newman, Nick Cummins, they're talking about camping, their travels, adventures with caravans and their tips, etc. You've got pet tips as well. Correct. And heart smart stuff.
Correct. Yep. That's on the other stage. So it's interesting about Sam and Sue, not to single out, but to understand for a consumer why they should come in here. So Sam and Sue went and did a boat trip in 2024. And then they rang me. I don't know how they got my number. And, hey, Daniel, it's Sam Newman. G'day, Sam? Yep. Oh, we're looking to do a caravan trip. Would you sponsor? And I said, why don't you want to be around? We want to go and experience. We ran around the coast, but we saw so many good things. And so they have absolutely enjoyed. They've got bogged a few times. They've had a few challenges, which they're going to educate people about. So they've done a lap. They want to do more. So then, you started to touch on the doctors and the vets and the first aid. So on our campground stage, which is the Lat Start Caravan and Camping area, there's also marshmallow roasting that you can do. There's road safety tips, travelling with your dogs and what to do.
And there's something that really appeals to the little boy in me, an RC car.
Yeah, that's on the 4x4 track.
Man, I would love to do that.
So we've got some demonstrations about driving on the track, so how to stop. If you get bogged, so Sam's going to go down there and watch that. If you get bogged, you can go down there and see how to do that. But at other times, you can get the little RC cars. And I remember as a kid, I used to have the one with the snake that came up and shot the water. I remember that one.
There was
as a kid.
RC car called the Grasshopper.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
I was in love with that as an 8-year-old. And they've re-released them. I saw them online. The Frog, the Grasshopper, there was one called anyway, this is not related to caravanning, but I loved all that stuff.
But you'll be able to drive around our off-road track with these RC cars. So it's about for the kids and giving them some entertainment. So it's pretty cool. But that's where the motorbike stunt show is going to be around that area as well. So Randy's Junkyard, he's been at the last couple of shows. He's a hoot. He's funny. He's in and out with his twin brother. And you'll see a motorbike stunt show at the same time. So they're all around that area. So there's lots going on in those areas, but you could also win something, Matt?
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that. Every year you guys do have some major prize. Yep. You've given away, I think, a Crusader caravan, Jayco's in the past. What is it this year?
So this year with our Passport to Freedom caravan, we've got a Jayco again. So we obviously appreciate the boys at Jayco and their support. So the Cross Trail, it's valued at $35,407. I better be precise, so I'll go get in trouble with the T's and C's of that stuff.
34,457?
35,407.
Oh, there you go.
So it's one of those ones where it's got the product and you can put your motorbikes on it, and then you can add the rooftop tents and everything like that on top.
It's the Cross Trail, and the Cross Trail is a sort of a build-your-own-beast kind of thing. It's a platform that you can, spec out as you like. Once you've put your 4x4, not your 4x4, your ATV or your motorbikes or whatever,
ATVs,
and then you can deck it out with solar, as you said, a rooftop tent. Correct. I think that's a great idea.
It's amazing. So it's really that starter to introduce people and get them into the industry. So you come to the show, you go around to all the checkpoints, you scan those, enter the competition, and you got a chance to win. So the more checkpoints you do, the more entries, all that sort of stuff as well. So getting a ticket gets you in. So it's pretty special, and someone's going to win it.
Okay, now, final question. Well, close to final. When Stuart Lamont was here, he let slip that he thought that truck drivers don't make good caravanners from a towing perspective. We haven't had any blowback yet. It's still early days. So this seems to be maybe a place where you can speak freely about these things. Like so, Daniel, any occupations that you think aren't suitable to caravan?
I think everyone's suitable for caravan. I'm going to use the good line. But it's an interesting point about the truck drivers and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation about sharing a road. But it's also important that they talk about the truck stops and caravan stopping on them. That's why there's a little bit of controversy between the lot. Going back in my time and consumer inquiries that I got, used to get truck drivers, used to get ex-engineers that used to tell you how it should be and how it should be. But that just adds to why the industry is so cool and so passionate, and the campground fire conversations that you have and the banter that's going on. So, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but that's just the banter that creates the caravan industry. We want them all.
I couldn't agree more, except the campfire is a source of misinformation.
Yes, definitely.
Armchair experts.
Yes, most definitely.
But we love our armchair experts here at Tow&Tell, and we would be more than happy for you to leave a comment.
Sometimes we learn more from them too, so it's actually good.
That's not a bad point. Now, okay, so the Victorian Caravan and Camping Super Show, it's on at Melbourne Showgrounds from Wednesday, February 18 to Sunday, February 22nd. Yep. Show tickets are available online at www.caravanshow.com.au. Now, I did tease at the top of the episode a bit of a special offer for viewers of Tow&Tell. And the first 10 people who comment on this episode will receive a free double pass to this year's Super Show. So don't forget to leave your comment. As I said, the first 10 people to do so will email you a free double pass to the Super Show. And don't forget, make sure you like, share and subscribe. All that stuff really does help us out. And so, Daniel, mate, you're the CEO of the Caravan Industry Victoria. I reckon you've got one of the toughest jobs in the entire RV manufacturing the RV manufacturing industry. Thanks once again for joining us, mate.
There's one more thing though, mate.
Oh, okay.
There's one more thing.
Okay.
We've got a special for your audience.
Oh, another special.
Yeah, another special. We've got a promo code for you guys.
A promo code. Okay, right. Lay it on us.
So, GoRV15.
GoRV15. We'll have this up on the screen.
Right. So, GoRV15 means that you get tickets for $15. right? So it's only $20 for an adult, $18 for concession, which is online prior to the show starting. But when the gates open, it goes to $25. So it's actually $10 off the actual day price. If you use GoRV15, you're going to get a discount through you guys.
Thank you so much, Daniel. GoRV15, that is your special online promo code to receive a $10 discount on the cost of adult tickets.
That's exactly right.
That's absolutely fantastic. Daniel, mate, thanks again.
Thank you so much, Max. Well done. Appreciate your support.